focused on mobile applications, data, and mobile advertising. We were recently acquired by Sprint. Pinsight Media is a brand that's been set up by Sprint, a separate subsidiary, basically to accomplish two things. One for targeting, and the other for basically ROI, measurement, attribution, that sort of stuff. So we work with a lot of you in the audience already under the hood.
Mr. Conway speaking.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
We've got an interesting panel. I'll let the folks introduce themselves, but as part of their introduction, maybe you can give a little bit of your approach to mobile, because it happens kind of either planned or coincidental. We've got three different types of agencies on the stage. So let me turn it over to you.
I'm Glen Sheehan. I'm a group creative director out of GSD&M in Austin, Texas. Unusual in our agency is I have a digital focus and float across all of our business from a mobile standpoint. It feels a lot like 1996 to me in terms of the Wild West that I saw back when I switched over to digital in the mid-90s here in San Francisco. But the opportunities are great. We're still seeing a lot of emerging opportunities. We're focused a lot on what BLE will do for us, or iBeacon, especially since we have a lot of retail accounts. And also the way that we also believe with the retail accounts, shopping is social, and social is mobile, so we see a lot of intersection there.
I'm Jeremy Lockhorn, VP of Emerging Media at Razorfish. So my role basically is to be a scout and help the agency figure out what's coming next, whether it's on mobile or other channels. And I think our approach to mobile, it's something we've been doing for a very long time, and I think it's just, in the last few years, last couple of years, it is going from sort of a line item or an experimental type of thing to it's now part of almost everything that we do. And we were talking to Guillaume before, and I think we're seeing more and more sort of integrated mobile questions and RFPs and assignments coming from clients. It's increasingly rare that we're getting sort of, I need to build an app or I need to build a website. It's much more about help me figure out what I need to do, across mobile in general. We're messing around with BLE and iBeacons and all that kind of stuff as well. It's a really exciting time to be in mobile.
Hello everyone, I'm Guillaume Lelait, so Vice President North America for Fetch. Fetch is a mobile specialist agency. We are independent. We are about 65 mobile specialists. My role here is to run the agency in San Francisco. We are retained by some of the largest advertisers, such as eBay, Hotels.com, and some of the games companies like Supercell. I would say that our approach to mobile is really been always about delivering results for businesses and brands, and also helping them to scale. So, really, proving ROI and still be innovative and help them to really scale their campaigns.
Okay, something I'm just kind of personally curious about as we watch this industry evolve, and again, I call it the full employment act if you happen to know mobile, say, for the next 10 years, because it clearly is going to increase, but right now it still is really nascent, as a spend. So I'm just curious, from kind of the agency's perspective, how you kind of approach the problem, or where do you think it's going? Are the big traditional agencies, or the full service agencies going to get really good at mobile? Or Guillaume, has a business that's really obviously very mobile first or mobile focused. In the long run, is that going to be cool, or is there going to be problems, because that's not really how the spending will take place, in the long run? Just always start with you, since you come from a very focused perspective.
I mean, the title of this panel is engagement, and I would say, don't start to spend any marketing budget until you've understood your engagement, look at your retention, and understand also what's the lifetime value for a mobile user. So we've been able, some of the companies we work with, our clients, they would definitely not spend any dollars if they were not showing some kind of engagement, whether it's, a download or a bid or a transaction. So, for us, for our agency, we've been growing organically, and we've seen our budget increasing by, 3% every year. So, I think it's been for us great here to be a mobile specialist agency, and I think our clients see the value of working with a specialist.
Yeah, I think mobile's not unique in this world, right? Like we've seen other channels emerge and specialty agencies, evolve as well. I mean, you could argue that a broader digital specialist agency has sort of taken the same path. And I think the key is that, as long as those agencies are continuing to evolve their service offerings, delivering value, engaging, back to the title of the panel, engaging with the customers in the right way, I think there's probably room for some of that. It's not to say that big traditional shops and digital shops are not also getting smart about mobile, but sometimes there's a need for the tip of the spear that maybe is a piece of expertise that doesn't exist within the shop.
For us, it's really, as a creative, it's really about storytelling and it's really about customer experience. So we started approaching it very differently, depending on the audience. Air Force is one of our accounts. We do very little TV for Air Force, but we're looking for the best and brightest, so we do a lot of mobile. We've done mobile apps, we do mobile sites. We're trying to engage that target at the point they are. The flip side of that is for marshals, we wanted to empower the audience to have fun with what they're doing. Shopping is social. We cannot tell you what brands we have on sale, but we can get our customers to do it. So we use social and Instagram as a platform. So depending on what's there and what the audience is doing, we'll find different ways to use an existing platform or develop something net new. So we're working on a project now for Ace Hardware and another project for Radio Shack, and we're looking at BLE and how we can bring that all the way in. And the content play, the advantage we have being a general agency is content is a lot of what we're doing, and the engagement has to do with the content. Sometimes it's fun, what we do, but other times we have to give utility. And we're a big believer that in this point in time, advertising shouldn't just tell you what to think. We should find ways to demonstrate the value of what this company stands for, and mobile is probably one of the best ways to do that.
Yeah, and we'll continue down that path in a minute, but sticking on just kind of the agencies and how it works a little bit, I'm curious, do you see, and I come from a very mobile-specific perspective, but do you see just how mobile is purchased, how it's done, being any different than these other mediums? You can talk about, it's still marketing 101, understand the customer, good creative, and all that sort of stuff. But there are a lot of things that are pretty different. It's quite fragmented, and the technologies are a little different. Is this something that kind of current employees and knowledge have to just learn and move forward with, or you're going to kind of revamp your own workforces to be part of this, and kind of combine that with just the processes of working with these brands and how RFPs and things like that are actually happening? Just the mechanics of it, I'm kind of interested in your perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. I think there's a lot of training going on for existing teams, both from across all of our disciplines: media, creative, technology, and I think that if you look even at my own role, 3-4 years ago, I spent a lot of time with our media teams, helping to educate and teaching the fragmentation and teaching how to deal with that and teaching the differences between desktop web and mobile web. And a lot of that is now, our teams are kind of off and running with that, right? And so, I think that there's a sort of natural evolution where, again, people are getting up to speed with it. It's becoming more and more part of everything that we do. But now, we're pushing further, right? So now, I'm not as involved on a day-to-day basis with media teams trying to help them, execute their plans. It's much more about, okay, now we've got that sort of figured out. We're still dealing with some of the tracking differences between desktop and mobile, of course. But it's also now, okay, well, how do I think about cross-screen, particularly looking at a big brand campaign that leverages a lot of video. How do I get it unduplicated reach and frequency across mobile, desktop, and television? And what does that mean from a GRP perspective, a TRP perspective? And how do I integrate that into a broader plan? And so I think I'm trying to make this back to your original question. I'm sort of going off on a tangent, but I think that organizationally speaking, we have a dedicated mobile practice. And I think that the idea is that we're trying to figure out the hard stuff and then bring that sort of as education and knowledge back to the agency and the clients directly. So I think it's very much this kind of a hybrid approach.
And I would say that on our side for Fetch, my advice to the team right now is we've been looking last year, we've been buying media on mobile across 300 vendors, and that's quite a lot. So I would say it's, to understand the value chain, we are enforcing more and more transparency also when we are buying mobile media. And last year we were getting in touch with a new ad network every week. In fact, we just realized that they were all buying the same traffic to the same ad network, probably the one which is on my back starting with a G. So that's, I think for us, it's buying smarter, buying more direct, being more transparent, and that's all.
A little different for me, obviously, because not buying anything. The thing that I try and encourage is very similar to what you're doing. Is I try and encourage people to have the widest imagination they can have about what you want to do, and it always goes back to what's the customer trying to accomplish. Sometimes we can have things that are fun. An example was we did a custom cut of a Zales commercial, and rather than Let Love Shine, we retagged it Let Love Never Die and ran it on Walking Dead with a zombie insert. And well, we ran a whole social program behind it using Instagram and everything that night to co-browse it. We saw a huge spike in lift with it, so we played with the audience, and we knew that was through mobile. We know the adjacency of it. It's things that I've observed. My last agency, we were running an ad for the opening of the Marimekko store in the New York Times on Sunday, and we suddenly saw website traffic spike on tablets. So we saw an adjacency there. It changed our strategy because of what the data told us. That's the other thing that I need as a creator. Is I need the input of the data to tell me what's going on and what people are doing, and then adapt to what we're doing from an experiential standpoint.
Okay, so part of engagement obviously is deciding who to engage with. So you might have very different, based on different contexts, different things like that. So when we approach the problem is very much from kind of interests you are, what you're interested in. So we've got 50 million social downloads. We've been collecting information for years, and now Sprint. We've got all sorts of interesting information, say what websites you go to, and providing a capability that's almost like in the web world of cookies. We kind of know where you've been. How do you approach the problem of targeting and that sort of stuff in deciding who to engage with?
Yeah, it's tricky still, I think, in the mobile space. There's a lot of the lack of a cookie-like object has presented a lot of challenges in that space. We're getting there, and I think we're probably going to solve it or get close to it this year as an industry. I don't think we. And so we as Razorfish rather. And so I think that's going to be a huge turning point in the evolution of mobile. But to your point, we are seeing a lot more of kind of historical interest tracking, whether it's the kind of apps that are on your phone or the sites that you visit, or even, they talked about this in the last one, I'm sure, that the physical locations that you visit as well. I think location is increasingly becoming this sort of real-world corollary to online behavioral targeting. In the same way that we target based on, I saw you on our website, I saw you in an ad, and I saw you did a search for it. You can get at some of those same sort of intent-based things by tracking location. And so I think that's where it's really interesting on mobile, is that it's this ultimate sort of browser and interest history plus the correlation with the real physical world.
I mean, on our side, I think it's been discussed on the last panel. Every ad network can give you, location targeting, device targeting, operating system, 3G, Wi-Fi, and so on. But it's really interesting. But it's where we're seeing like most, really impressive results is where we are tapping basically into, Facebook data. Facebook last year has been incredible for driving engagement on mobile using the Facebook API. We are really looking forward to what Twitter is going to do. So everything which is going to be a bit different to what the overall market is proposing. looking forward to.
So to jump on that then, no matter what everyone talks about, at the end of the day, the numbers would say, just what you just said.